I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call the Little Mars City Council regular meeting for Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Sturgeon?
Here.
Bruns?
Here.
Pick?
Here.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Start the meeting with a hearing, 2025 Industrial Road Sanitary Sewer Extension. At the February 4th, 2025 meeting, council set this date and time to hear public comments on the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of costs for the 2025 Industrial Road Sanitary Sewer Extension Project. The project consists of extending the sanitary sewer main to serve 4 lots in the Lamar's Industrial Park second and third editions that currently do not have access to sewer. Lot 7, Lamar's Industrial Park third edition, is currently being constructed on and will need sewer as soon as possible. Proposed schedule: February 18, 2025 public hearing, March 12, 2025 bid opening at 10 a.m., March 18, 2025 award, August 1st, 2025 completion. I'd like to open the hearing and ask for any comments regarding the project. Anybody here to comment on the 2025 Industrial Road Sanitary Sewer Extension? Please stand up now. All right, seeing no public comments, I'd like to turn to the council and ask for your approval and comments. The estimate for the project is $104,246 to be funded with TIF.
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 25-8 on plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of costs for the 2025 Industrial Road Sanitary Sewer Expansion Project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Sturgeon?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Goodchild?
You bet.
Pick?
Yes.
Bruns?
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to general discussion. Citizens. This is a time for citizens to address the council. Anything? Anybody here to address the council?
Thanks, Mayor. Real quick, Chief Shipper, a couple of things. Just kudos to the city workers that are out in this weather. We had a water main break this morning. Those guys were freezing, but they did a great job, and they keep us notified of all that stuff, so we know where we have water and fire hydrants and things like that. My staff's been out several times, EMS-wise and some fire-wise stuff. So in the PD and wastewater, just everybody, streets, parks, everybody's working hard. And I want to tell the citizens to please now, with the next few days, supplemental heating. Space heaters need to be plugged right into an outlet and 3 foot of clearance. You really need to have a carbon monoxide alarm and things like that as your furnace is working harder. Change the filters and stuff like that. We've been getting several carbon monoxide calls lately. Houses are shut up tight and things like that. Fortunately, only 1 has been the real deal and 4 or 5 have not been. Been some issues with batteries or detectors going bad, but please check those things. Don't hesitate to call. Thank you.
How do they stay warm down in those holes digging?
Lots of clothing, but then you're like this and you're trying to shovel and do things. But I mean, I'm surprised we've only had 1, or 2, but those guys do a great job, and they're out there in the elements and fixing it as fast as they can. So kudos to them and keeping us posted, like I said. So, thanks.
One time Monty Brent told me that it was actually warmer down in the hole than up top, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But I still wouldn't want to be that guy.
No. Any other citizens here to address the council? All right, moving on to thumbs up award. Brad.
How about a thumbs up for Chief Shipper for the work he's doing and being able to be here for us?
Kurt. Brian.
Pass.
Clark.
Pass.
I don't really have any thumbs up? Go ahead.
Chief stole mine. I was gonna give thumbs up to all the workers and people who are working outside in this, because it's nasty.
Yeah, it is.
I would echo those comments, and also even the people working at that overlook, they're out there every day working on that thing. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, thanks to all that are bearing that for us, so. Okay, moving on to consent items. Under the consent items, we have an approval of the February 4, 2025 regular meeting minutes, a list of bills for period ending 2/14/25, monthly financial statement for January 2025, new liquor license for San Juan Bakery LLC, and a temporary premise transfer to the KC's, a request to close the street for Jordan's Meat Market, urban revitalization tax exemption request, Convention and Visitors Bureau Advisory Board recommendations, and the commercial solid waste collection license.
The request to close the street, everybody been notified on the block that it's gonna be happening?
Not yet, they will be.
But they will be.
Yeah, we have a letter ready.
Okay, just because it's,
Yeah, inconvenience.
thanks.
Yeah.
CVB award recommendations. I asked a couple of months ago about raising the cap. Has there been any more discussion with the committee regarding that?
That is all part of the Heritage Foundation discussion as far as where we go with that funding. And it will be, I think, included in that plan.
All right,
So
thank you.
a lot of those events fall under that umbrella.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I bring it up from the standpoint that we have an awful lot of events that are bringing tourism in, and we had apparently 6 grant applications. So, I think with tourism as part of our community development plan, I wish that some of those folks that are having those events maybe would apply for grants. But that's all, just that comment is all that I have to.
What is the cap?
$7,500.
So you wanna raise the cap and not the base?
Correct.
Because I did call Mark just for clarification, and he said that everybody that applied was granted this year, which I was a little bit surprised because I didn't know if there was a list of denials. There usually is, or reduction ones.
Right.
But I found it maybe a little weird that there's so few of applications, but.
I think I would just weigh in on that. Like, I can remember the years where we had so many, or that each one was asking for so much that we had to either not grant some or lower the amount. And I think some of those groups maybe got discouraged and didn't come back. And, we're actually encouraging people to come apply.
Well, and again, as we, as hotel, with Heritage Foundation, what they're doing and the events that are happening in town, I think that hotel motel fund is gonna continue to grow. So, I think if those groups have been denied in the past, if they've got something that's worthy, I would sure like to encourage them to,
Which brings us back to Clark's suggestion to keep it on the radar about, boosting that amount that people pay when they stay at our hotels for tax, because it's not a tax on our citizens, it's the people that we go elsewhere and pay that. Why wouldn't they have to do the same?
And the other thing about getting too much over that 7,500, I think we'd want to move into some sort of a matching funds at that point, rather than actually, if we're going to go to 10,000, then they've got to be putting energy into those draws too.
Yeah, I think they all do.
It's
I'm
a-
sure they do.
Already.
I'm sure
I think it's
they.
a 30% match, right, Jessica? Yeah, 30%
So,
right now.
okay, there is a 30%, okay.
Okay. Good enough. Just good comment.
Yeah, I mean, again, as that fund grow, as tourism expands and the fund is gonna continue to grow, I think we'll have the resources to be able to do that.
And curiosity on Jordan's, I'm not opposed to this at all. Is there a reason we need that much room, number one, and number two is why couldn't we just go with the parking areas on half of the street rather than block Central completely? It seems like an excessively large area for one event. That's just my take.
Yeah,
I think the problem would be though, if you don't block off the road, then you're gonna have traffic and people and,
Inside the areas.
yeah.
But like, that goes back to my question with why not just the parking area on one side of the street that could be dedicated? It just seems like a big area for one
Yeah,
event.
we don't normally do this, but he
Right.
is having a grand opening for Jordan's Meat Market. And they are having, the pork producers are going to be grilling and so are the cattlemen.
Oh.
So they'll be having that going on because they're a meat place. And then Engage Lamar's is going to be getting a liquor license transferred. So it will kind of have that party atmosphere.
Okay.
And I just think it was more of a safety thing. We were just trying to make sure. It's from 4 to 7 and then it'll just come right down.
Yeah, and I figured the dead ends would cause a problem, so that's why
Yeah.
but like I say, I'm not opposed to it, it just
Yeah.
seems rather large.
We don't normally do it, but again, it's
Alright.
kind of an exciting thing. It's different, and since he was going to have, these pork producers and everybody grilling, we kind of needed more room. So,
Sure.
yeah,
Okay, thanks, kiddo.
yeah, no problem.
I'd make a motion, we accept consent items 1 through 8.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to action items. E1, the Parkview Terrace Mobile Home Park rezoning. At the February 4, 2025 meeting, council approved the first reading of the proposed rezoning of 2 parcels of the property at the Parkview Terrace Mobile Home Park located at 76 16th Avenue Northwest. It is recommended that parcel 12-08-376-013, currently zoned RC, and parcel 12-08-376-012, currently zoned B2, both be rezoned to R2. This would allow them to expand the mobile home park into these 2 parcels. Administration and Planning and Zoning Commission recommend council approval.
I'll make a motion approving the second reading of ordinance 994, amending zoning districts.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Wick,
Yes.
Pick,
Yes.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yep.
Bruns.
Yes. Motion to waive the third reading of ordinance 994, amending zoning districts.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Pick,
Yes.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Bruns.
Yes. And motion to adopt ordinance 994, amending zoning districts on its second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Pick,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yep.
Wick,
Yes.
Bruns.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving to E2, the 2025 Lamar's Industrial Park Rail Extension Project. ISG has prepared plans for the 2025 Lamar's Industrial Park Rail Extension Project. The project will extend the rail across 27th Street Southwest and the entire 500-foot depth of Lamar's Industrial Park 4th Edition. Proposed schedule, February 18, 2025, council set public hearing. March 4, 2025, public hearing. March 25, 2025, bid opening at 10 a.m. April 1, 2025, award. October 3rd, 2025, completion. Administration recommends council proceed with a public hearing. The estimate for the project is $504,245 to be funded with TIP.
I asked a question last week, 2 weeks ago, and I'm gonna kind of re-ask it, I guess. This seems a little high. Has ISG done rail extensions? He said they had, and I didn't investigate anything, but doesn't the railroad do their own? I mean, I don't think anybody, ISG or anybody, tells the railroad what their railroad's gonna look like. And so I'm kind of curious, what,
Well, this is our railroad.
This is our rail. It's not the main line.
I
So
understand we own, but still,
the main line has no say on what happens with our rail.
We use their standards. We use the standards to.
I mean, that does make sense. I realize we're not dealing with their main line, but, okay.
And ISG has a division that does rail.
Okay. All right.
As I recall from years ago, part of the issue why we have Burlington Junction is because of the way the railroad companies would access spurs.
And cooperate.
Yeah, they would only go one way, or I can't remember the specifics, but I just remember that it was very difficult for the folks that were on those spurs to get rail cars in and so on and so forth. So making the move to Burlington Junction allowed us to do that. So expanding that spur gives us, well, I'm calling it a spur. It's probably not really a spur, but the extension will give us make the lots in industrial 4 and whatever beyond that, I think, even more saleable.
Right, and I'm gonna meet with Burlington Junction on Thursday, and we're gonna talk about the potential purchase of another lot from them, by them, to expand our transload, because they're at capacity now, so that we need to continue south so they can continue to grow that. So it is growing. There's a lot of activity out there.
I don't remember, Mark, maybe you do. We just put that third,
Storage area,
Switch.
whatever you
No,
call
right.
it.
I was trying to remember the
Switch.
cost. I was
Switch.
trying to remember the cost of that thing.
It was $1 million.
I think that
Yeah.
was the number I thought.
I mean, I think that was $1 million. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm good with it. I just, because I understand the need is there.
And this does include going across the street.
Right. And through the lot, yeah, so,
All the way back, all the way to the back of
right,
industrial 4, right?
correct.
Yeah. I would make a motion to establish March 4, 2025 at 12 PM for a public hearing on plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 2025 Lamar's Industrial Park Rail Extension Project, and to establish March 25, 2025 at 10 AM to receive and open bids, with said bids considered at the April 1, 2025 meeting. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item E3, ISG Services Agreement, Municipal Park. Attached is a service agreement with ISG to provide preliminary design work on municipal park renovations. The project is part of the Community Betterment 3 projects that will run through the Lamar's Area Betterment Foundation. The project will consist of Willow Creek Banquet Hall expansion, tennis, pickleball, and volleyball courts, parking lot expansion, and outdoor fitness court, and additional amenities. Administration recommends council approve the agreement. The cost will be covered by the city using lost funds as part of the city's $5.5 million contribution to the CBP 3 projects.
I guess I looked at the intent of the 5.5 million that the city is contributing, was to get these projects moving. The Betterment Foundation will start fundraising in the next couple months, so we will not, at that point, we will not be the only source for paying for these things. So, but just make sure you guys all knew that at least we're gonna get the engineering and the design work and stuff, and make sure that projects are ready to go. So,
And just as a reminder, the city's contribution to this is from local option sales tax.
yeah.
So, buy local. So the point being, it's not a new tax, there's no property tax, it's going to this is, from local option sales tax funds.
Absolutely, and this was high on the priority list when we talked about parks. The only part about Brad, and I fully understand what you're saying, and I agree with it, and I agree with this, but property taxes do maintain all of this stuff that we're doing in an ongoing way. So
Good point, fair point.
It,
Yep.
you know, it initially may not cost us that way, but, so I wanted to make that clear.
Well, hopefully we can generate a little bit of additional revenue out of the banquet hall, being able to host larger
Absolutely,
events and more events.
absolutely. That's needed.
Motion to approve the agreement with ISG to provide professional services to Municipal Park in a not to exceed amount of $77,380.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion items. We'll start with annual reports. Wastewater is up.
Where's Joe today?
Jason, where's Joe today?
Bowling tournament.
Oh,
As long as it's something fun.
For kids.
It's not a golf tournament.
okay, Douglas.
All right, Doug Massoon, wastewater superintendent. I'm gonna cruise through pretty quick. I wanna get back outside to enjoy the weather here. So, the first page there is our staff, years of service, certification. I do have a couple typos in there. Derek Worth and Lucas Hauser do have the grade 2 certification. We did have Dan Bolkin retire this year after about 36 years. Nathan Tyler replaced him, and he just got his grade 1 last week. Coming down here, a little over 811 million gallons of raw wastewater treated this year for about 2.2 million gallons per day. That's up from last year, as well as the CBOD and TSS all up. For the year, we operate at 105% of CBOD capacity. Jumping down to our pre-treatment violations. Last year, Wells had 82 violations and Kemp's had 99 violations. This year, our ultraviolet disinfection did go online. Everything's working as expected and designed, and we're easily meeting our E. coli limits. One big story again is the June flooding. Did bring some damage to the wastewater plants. Not as bad as some of our neighboring towns. We were able to keep it up and running and minimize the damage. Biosolids, a little over 8 million gallons were generated and landed